the alley stretches before you, long and narrow, disappearing into soft darkness ahead. The pavement beneath is wet, always wet, glistening with a thin layer of water that never quite dries. Rain falls here, gentle and constant, a vertical curtain of fine droplets that whisper as they meet the ground. The sound is quiet, rhythmic, like breathing. Like the city itself is breathing, slow and steady, in and out, in and out. Above, the buildings rise into shadow, their edges softened by distance and mist. You cannot see their tops. They fade into the dark sky, becoming part of the night itself. The walls are smooth, old concrete and metal, worn by time and weather. They hold the alley like cupped hands, creating a space that feels separate from the world beyond. Neon light glows softly along the walls. A blue sign hums on your left, its color deep and cool, like water in a quiet pool. The light spills down the brick, painting it in shades of azure and indigo. Across from it, a violet glow emanates from a small panel, steady and calm. The violet mixes with the blue in the air between, creating a twilight haze that drifts and settles. The rain continues. Each drop catches the neon as it falls, becoming a tiny point of colored light for just a moment before joining the puddles below. The puddles are everywhere, shallow and still, reflecting the lights above. Blue and violet dance on their surfaces, rippling gently when drops disturb them, then settling again into mirror-smooth peace. You stand at the entrance of the alley, watching. There is nowhere you need to be. Nothing calls you forward or pulls you back. This moment is enough. The rain touches your shoulders, light as silk, cool but not cold. It beads on your jacket and runs down in slow rivulets, following the seams, dripping quietly to join the water at your feet. The fog moves through the alley like something alive but gentle. It stays low, hugging the ground, drifting from left to right in thin horizontal layers. It makes the far end of the alley seem even farther away, softening the edges of everything, blurring the line between solid and air. When the fog passes through the neon light, it glows from within, becoming luminous, then fading back to gray as it moves on. You take a step forward. Your footfall is soft, muffled by the water. A small ripple spreads outward from your shoe, distorting the blue reflection for a moment before it calms. Another step. The sound is gentle, absorbed by the rain, by the wet ground, by the patient walls. The alley welcomes you without sound, without greeting, simply opening its space to your presence. To your left, a small alcove sits recessed into the wall. Water is pooled there, deeper than on the main path, creating a perfect mirror. The blue neon above reflects in it completely, an inverted sign hanging in water, as real as the one above. You pause beside it, watching both lights, the one in air and the one in water, existing together, neither more true than the other. The rain falls into the pool. Each impact creates tiny circular waves that spread and overlap, a constant pattern of gentle motion. The reflection breaks and reforms, a rhythm that matches the rain's quiet song. You watch for a long moment, breathing slowly, feeling your own rhythm align with the water's pulse. Above the alcove, a small ventilation grate releases a thread of warm air. It rises through the rain, invisible except for the slight distortion it creates in the falling drops. The warmth touches your face as you stand there, a contrast to the cool rain, neither unpleasant. Just sensation. Just the night offering two temperatures, two touches, both gentle. You continue walking, slowly, taking your time. The alley is perhaps 50 meters long, but distance doesn't matter here. Time moves differently in this space. Seconds stretch and soften like the fog, becoming unmeasured, becoming simply now, extended and peaceful. Ahead, another light glows. This one is violet, mounted low on the right wall. It illuminates a metal door, smooth and featureless, no handle visible, no sign to indicate what lies beyond. The door is simply there, part of the wall, another surface for the light to paint. The violet is deeper than the blue, richer, like twilight captured and held in glass. It makes the wet pavement before it look almost purple, a royal color, elegant and calm. You approach the door and stop. Stand still. Let the rain fall on you. Let the violet light wash over your hands, your arms, turning your skin shades of lavender and plum. There is no need to knock. No need to enter. The door is not an invitation or a barrier. It is simply present, like you, like the rain, like the light. Everything existing together in quiet harmony. The sound of the rain changes slightly here. It echoes off the door's metal surface with a higher, softer tone, like wind chimes made of water. You listen to this variation, this subtle shift in the alley's song. The rain on pavement, low and hushed. The rain on metal, lighter and clear. Together they weave a simple melody, two notes repeating, endless and soothing. Behind you, the blue light continues its steady glow. Before you, the violet does the same. You stand between them, held in their combined radiance, bathed in colors that speak of night and dreams and the quiet spaces between thoughts. The fog drifts past your ankles, cool and damp, barely felt but present, always present. Minutes pass. Many minutes. You're not counting. There's no reason to count. Each moment is complete in itself, requiring nothing from the ones before or after. You simply stand, breathing, watching the rain create and recreate its patterns in the puddles at your feet. Each reflection is perfect for an instant before it fragments and begins again. Beauty appearing and dissolving, teaching without words the nature of all things. Your shoulders relax. They've been holding tension you didn't notice until now, until it begins to release, flowing down your arms and away into the rain. Your jaw softens. Your hands uncurl. The alley is showing you how to be still, not through instruction but through example. Everything here is simply being what it is, no effort, no striving. The lights glow. The rain falls. The fog drifts. And you stand, becoming part of this effortless existing. Somewhere far above, beyond the buildings, beyond the mist, there might be sky, stars, moon. But here, in this moment, this alley is all the universe you need. It contains everything necessary, light and shadow, sound and silence, movement and stillness, all balanced, all in harmony. You feel held by this balance, supported by it, allowed to simply be, without question or expectation. The violet light pulses, almost imperceptibly, a rhythm like heartbeat, so slow and gentle you might imagine it. But no, it's real, a slight increase and decrease in intensity that takes many seconds to complete. You match your breathing to it without thinking. Inhale as the light strengthens. Exhale as it softens. In. Out. Light. Breath. Becoming synchronized, becoming one rhythm shared between you and the glowing panel. The rain continues its descent, never hurrying, never stopping, each drop taking its time to fall, to land, to become part of the water below. You wonder, in a distant, dreamy way, how long the rain has been falling here. Hours? Days? Years? Perhaps it has always been raining in this alley, will always be raining, a constant that gives the space its character, its voice, its gentle persistent presence. You turn slowly, looking back the way you came. The blue light seems farther now, though you haven't walked far. The fog has thickened slightly, not enough to obscure, just enough to add distance, to make the blue glow seem like something remembered rather than something seen. You can still make out the alcove, the deeper puddle, the reflection hanging in its depths. The alley is teaching you about perspective, about how distance changes light, how fog can make the near seem far and the familiar seem mysterious. But there's no lesson to learn, not really. Just this observation, gentle and without judgment. Just noticing how things are, how they appear, how they shift and change while somehow remaining the same. You face forward again. The violet door waits, patient and silent. Beyond it, the alley continues into deeper shadow, where the neon lights fade and the darkness grows thick. But that's for later, for another time. Right now, this spot, this particular place between blue and violet, is exactly where you are meant to be. The rain touches your face. You close your eyes and feel it. Each drop is distinct, a tiny cool kiss on your skin, there and gone, immediately replaced by another. The sensation is hypnotic, calling your attention to the surface of your body, to the boundary between you and the night. But even that boundary feels soft now, permeable, less like a division and more like a place where two things meet and mingle. Your breath continues, slow and even. The violet light continues its subtle pulse. The rain continues its endless fall. And you continue standing, existing, being present in this moment that stretches like taffy, sweet and soft and seemingly endless. The alley holds you gently, asking nothing, offering everything it has, shelter and space, light and shadow, sound and color. And you accept it all, letting it wash over you, through you, becoming part of your experience, part of this night, part of this long, peaceful descent into rest and quiet and the soft blue and violet dreams of the sleeping city. You begin to walk again, slowly, your feet finding their rhythm in the water. Each step creates a soft sound, a gentle splash that mingles with the rain's constant whisper. The violet light falls behind you now, its glow fading gradually as you move deeper into the alley. The darkness ahead doesn't feel threatening. It feels like an invitation, like a soft blanket waiting to enfold you. The buildings on either side seem to lean in slightly, not oppressively, but protectively, like they're sheltering this narrow passage from the wider world beyond. Their surfaces are textured with age, old brick, weathered metal panels, smooth concrete marked by decades of rain. In the dim light, these textures become subtle, suggestions rather than details, patterns your eyes can trace without focusing. A new light appears ahead on your left. It's different from the others. Smaller. A thin strip of neon, horizontal, running along the base of the wall just above the waterline. It glows a pale cyan, somewhere between blue and green, the color of shallow tropical water or ice lit from within. The light reflects perfectly in the wet pavement, creating a double line, one real and one mirrored, both glowing with the same gentle intensity. You approach it slowly, watching how the cyan adds a new note to the alley's color symphony. Where it meets the lingering violet light behind you, the air between takes on a complex hue, layers of color mixing in the mist and rain. The fog drifts through these colors, becoming a moving canvas, each wisp painted differently as it passes through the bands of light. Near the cyan strip, you notice a small detail you hadn't seen before. A pipe runs down the wall, old and dark, slick with moisture. Water runs down its length in a thin stream, separate from the rain, emerging from somewhere high above. The stream catches the cyan light as it falls, becoming luminous, a thread of glowing water that empties into a puddle at the pipe's base. You stop beside this puddle. It's deeper than the others, perhaps the depth of your hand, and perfectly circular, as if it's been here so long it's worn its own basin into the pavement. The cyan light illuminates it from the side, turning the water into something magical, glowing from within like liquid light. The rain falls into it, each drop creating concentric circles that expand slowly, overlapping, creating interference patterns of ripples that form and dissolve in endless variation. Watching the puddle, you feel time soften further. Each ripple is an event, complete in itself, yet part of an ongoing pattern. The drops fall at irregular intervals, never quite establishing a predictable rhythm, yet the overall effect is harmonious, musical in its randomness. Nature's percussion, played on water and light. You crouch down slowly, bringing yourself closer to the puddle's surface. From this angle, you can see the reflection of the cyan strip more clearly. It glows in the water like a path, a line of light leading somewhere you can't see. The rain disturbs it constantly, but it remains, persistent, always reforming after each disruption. There's something reassuring in this, in the way the reflection refuses to disappear, always returning to itself. Your hand reaches out, hovering above the water. You hesitate, not wanting to disturb the beauty you're witnessing, but curiosity draws you forward. Your fingertips touch the surface. The water is cool, clean, softer than you expected. The ripples from your touch spread outward, larger than those from the rain, distorting the cyan reflection into wavering bands. You hold still, watching your own ripples expand and fade, watching the reflection reassemble itself once they pass. Standing again takes effort. Your legs feel heavy, relaxed, unwilling to move quickly. That's fine. There's no hurry. You rise slowly, like a plant growing, like fog lifting, taking all the time you need. Once upright, you sway slightly, finding your balance, feeling the weight of your body, the pull of the earth beneath the pavement, beneath the water, holding you gently to the spot. The alley continues ahead, and you with it. Your pace is even slower now, each step deliberate, meditative. The rain is soaked into your clothes, but you don't feel wet anymore. You feel baptized, transformed, like you're becoming part of the alley's moisture, part of its essential nature. The boundary between you and the environment continues to blur, growing softer with each breath, each step, each moment of quiet acceptance. On your right, a window appears. It's small, square, set high in the wall about twice your height. Behind it, a warm amber light glows, different from the cool neons. It's the only warm light you've seen in this alley, and its warmth reaches out through the rain, through the cool air, touching you with its golden radiation. The window is frosted or fogged, impossible to see through, but the light itself is invitation enough. Someone, somewhere, is awake in the night, their presence marked by this gentle beacon. You stop beneath the window, looking up. The rain falls between you and that amber glow, each drop catching the color as it passes, becoming briefly golden before returning to clear transparency. It's like watching tiny fallen stars, hundreds of them, thousands, all descending through the warm light, all heading toward the cool water below. The meeting of warm and cool, light and dark, above and below, all happening in the space of this narrow alley, all witnessed by you in this moment of perfect stillness. The window's light creates a pool of amber on the pavement, mixing with the cyan from the strip further back. Where they meet, the water becomes a shade of pale gold green, a color that seems impossible, yet there it is, real and present, painted by light on water. You step into this mixed color, standing in it, letting it illuminate your feet, your legs, adding its hue to the complex tapestry of colors that surrounds you. A sound reaches you. Not from ahead or behind, but from above. A soft mechanical hum, steady and low, barely audible beneath the rain. You tilt your head back, searching for the source. There, a ventilation unit, mounted high on the wall, spinning slowly. Its blades are invisible in the darkness, but you can sense their rotation in the sound's gentle oscillation, a slight rise and fall in pitch as each blade passes the same point in its cycle. The hum is soothing, another layer in the alley's ambient music. Rain on pavement, rain on metal, water dripping from the pipe, and now this mechanical purr, all blending together into a soundscape that wraps around you like audio silk. You close your eyes, just listening, letting the sounds fill your awareness without trying to separate or identify them. Just sound, washing over you, through you, finding resonance in your chest, your bones, your breath. When you open your eyes again, the alley seems slightly different, though nothing has changed. Perhaps you're different, your perception shifted by those moments of listening. The colors seem softer now, the edges even less defined. The fog has thickened a bit more, rising slightly higher, now reaching your knees in places, swirling around your legs as you stand, as you eventually continue forward. The amber window fades behind you as you walk, joining the violet and blue in the gathering distance. Ahead, the darkness deepens, but it's not complete. There's always a light somewhere, always another glow emerging from the shadow. This is the nature of the alley, it never becomes truly dark, never fully bright, always maintaining this perfect balance of illumination and obscurity, always giving you just enough light to see, just enough darkness to dream. Another alcove appears on your left. This one is larger, deeper, almost a small room open to the alley. The walls are bare brick, old and dark with moisture and age. The floor is completely covered in water, a shallow pool that fills the entire space. No neon lights here, just the ambient glow from further up the alley, filtered through fog and rain, creating a dim, even illumination that's barely brighter than darkness itself. You step into the alcove. The water rises slightly higher around your feet. The space feels different from the open alley, more enclosed, more intimate. The rain still falls here, but the sound changes, echoing slightly off the brick walls, gaining a subtle resonance. You move to the back wall and lean against it, letting it support your weight, feeling the cold, damp brick through your clothes. From here, you can see out into the alley, see the path you've walked, the lights glowing in the distance, the rain falling like a beaded curtain across the opening. You're a watcher now, an observer, removed from the path while still being part of it. The alley continues without you, the rain falls without you, the lights glow without you, and yet you're intimately connected to all of it, contained within it, part of its ongoing existence. Your breathing deepens. The alcove feels safe, protected, a pocket of stillness within the already still alley. You could stay here for a long time, just watching, just being. And maybe you will. Maybe you'll rest here for a while, let the alley move around you while you remain motionless, a stone in a stream, water flowing past but not carrying you away. The fog drifts by the alcove's opening, thick wisps that momentarily obscure your view before passing on. Each time the fog thickens, the world narrows to just this small space, just these brick walls, just the water at your feet. Each time it thins, the world expands again, revealing the alley, the lights, the greater space beyond. Contraction and expansion, narrowing and widening, the rhythm of the fog teaching you about focus and release, about holding on and letting go. Time passes. You don't know how much. It doesn't matter. You're beyond time now, existing in a continuous present that stretches in all directions, infinite and yet contained within this single moment. The rain continues. Your breath continues. The lights glow. The fog drifts. Everything is exactly as it should be, exactly as it has always been, exactly as it will always be, eternal and unchanging in its gentle, persistent presence. Eventually, gently, you push away from the brick wall. Your body moves slowly, reluctantly, like it's forgotten how to be in motion. But the alley calls you forward, not with urgency, but with quiet invitation. There's more to see, more to experience, and you have all the time in the world to discover it. Stepping out of the alcove, you return to the main path. The water splashes softly under your feet, welcoming you back. The rain greets your face again, cool drops that feel like recognition, like the alley acknowledging your return to its flow. You stand for a moment at the threshold between the alcove and the path, honoring both spaces, the stillness you're leaving and the gentle movement you're rejoining. The alley stretches ahead, and you can see it curves slightly now, bending to the right, following some contour of the buildings that contain it. This curve adds mystery, suggesting what you cannot yet see, promising that around the bend, new lights await, new colors, new reflections and new puddles. The anticipation is mild, soft, not excitement but gentle curiosity, the kind that doesn't demand immediate satisfaction. You walk toward the curve, your pace even slower than before. Each step is its own small journey, beginning with the lift of your foot from water, the brief moment of suspension in air, the gradual descent back to the wet pavement, the splash, the settling. Walking becomes meditation, becomes ritual, becomes a way of marking time with your body's rhythm. The fog is thicker here near the curve, as if it gathers in this bend of the alley, pooling like the water pools in low places. It rises to your waist now, obscuring your legs, making you seem to float rather than walk. The sensation is dreamlike, untethered, as if gravity has loosened its hold and you're drifting more than stepping, carried forward by the gentlest current. As you round the curve, new light reveals itself gradually. First just a suggestion of color in the fog ahead, then a glow, then finally a clear source, a vertical neon tube mounted on the right wall, floor to ceiling, glowing a deep magenta. It's brighter than the other lights you've encountered, but still not harsh, still soft enough to be soothing. The magenta spills across the alley, painting everything in shades of pink and rose and burgundy. The color transforms the space. What was cool and blue becomes warm and alive. The water reflects the magenta perfectly, creating a path of rose-colored light that leads deeper into the alley. The fog glows pink, luminous and ethereal, like you've stepped into a dream of flowers, of sunset, of some gentle realm between waking and sleeping. You approach the magenta tube slowly, drawn by its warmth, its vibrancy. Up close, you can see the light itself, the glowing gas inside the glass, moving slightly, almost imperceptibly, shifting and flowing like something alive. There's a very faint hum, higher pitched than the ventilation unit from before, a soft electrical song that adds a new frequency to the alley's ambient chorus. Beside the tube, another detail catches your attention. A metal grate in the wall, perhaps a meter square, with thin horizontal slats. Behind it, darkness, but from that darkness comes air, cool and slightly damp, flowing out in a steady stream. The air carries a scent, something clean and mineral, like stone after rain, like the deep earth breathing out its essence. You stand before the grate, letting the air wash over you. It's cooler than the alley's air, and the contrast feels refreshing, awakening. The breath of the building, the exhalation of whatever systems run in the walls and floors beneath and around you. The city breathing, its lungs hidden but present, its respiration steady and calm. The magenta light makes your hands look different when you hold them up. The skin takes on a rosy hue, warmer than your natural tone, as if blood glows closer to the surface. You turn your hands slowly, watching the light play across them, noticing the shadows between your fingers, the way the color pools in your palm, the way each crease and line becomes a river of darker shade against the illuminated planes. A sound emerges from deeper in the alley. Soft, rhythmic, like footsteps but slower, more deliberate. You lower your hands and look ahead, past the magenta tube, into the fog-thick space beyond. Something is moving there, a shadow among shadows, approaching with the same unhurried pace that governs everything in this place. You wait, calm and curious. There's no alarm in you, no concern. The alley has established itself as a place of peace, and whatever moves within it must share that quality. The footsteps continue, growing slightly louder, though still quiet, still muffled by water and mist. A figure emerges from the fog. Tall and slender, wrapped in a long coat that hangs to their knees. You cannot see their face, the fog and distance and dim light conspire to keep it mysterious. But you can see their movement, slow and fluid, their feet finding purchase in the water with practiced ease. They're part of the alley, as much as the lights, as much as the rain. The figure walks toward you, and you stand still, watching. There's no need to speak, no need to acknowledge them beyond your presence. They come closer, and now you can see a little more. The coat is dark, possibly black or deep gray, beaded with rain. Their hands are in their pockets. Their head is slightly bowed, as if watching the path before them, or simply contemplating, lost in thought that matches the alley's meditative mood. They pass you without pausing, without looking up, without any sign that they've noticed you at all. And that feels right, feels appropriate. You're both occupants of this space, both travelers in the night, but your journeys are separate, private, internal. The alley is large enough to contain you both without requiring interaction, without demanding connection. You turn slightly, watching them continue past the magenta tube, their figure becoming silhouette against its glow, then shadow again as they move beyond it. Their footsteps fade gradually, absorbed by distance and fog and the ever-present rain. Soon they're gone, disappeared around the curve you came from, leaving you alone again in the gentle magenta light. But you're not quite alone. Their passage has left something behind, not a physical trace, but a feeling, a sense that the alley is inhabited, that others walk these paths, that you're part of a larger story even as you remain solitary. It's comforting in a way you can't quite articulate, knowing that the night holds other wanderers, other seekers of quiet and contemplation. You continue forward, leaving the magenta tube behind. Its glow fades as you walk, joining the other lights in the distance, becoming memory even as it remains visible. The alley is teaching you about accumulation, about how each moment adds to the ones before, building a rich tapestry of experience that you carry with you even as you move through the present. Ahead, the path straightens again, running long and narrow into deeper shadow. The buildings on either side grow closer here, the alley narrowing, becoming more intimate. You can almost touch both walls if you extend your arms. The narrowness makes the space feel more protected, more womb-like, a passage through the city's body, safe and hidden from the wider world. Water runs down both walls here, not just in isolated streams but in broad sheets, as if the buildings themselves are weeping, releasing moisture they've absorbed from the rain, from the fog, from decades of this constant dampness. The water catches what little light reaches this far, creating subtle patterns of reflection, ever-changing as the flow shifts and moves. You reach out and touch the wall on your right. The water flows over your fingers, cool and smooth, a living current. You press your palm flat against the brick, feeling the texture beneath the moisture, feeling the solidity of the building, the weight of all those floors above, all that structure held in place by walls and foundation and human engineering. Yet for all its mass, the building feels gentle here, its surface soft with water, offering no resistance to your touch. A small sound makes you look down. At the base of the wall, where it meets the flooded pavement, something small moves in the water. You crouch slowly, bringing your face closer to see. A piece of paper, perhaps, or plastic, caught in a slight current, spinning slowly as the water flows past it. The light is too dim to see it clearly, but you watch its movement, hypnotized by its simple rotation, its surrender to the current's will. The narrow passage feels like a transition, a threshold between one state and another. Behind you, the wider alley with its varied lights. Ahead, something new, something you haven't yet encountered. You can sense change coming, though what form it will take remains hidden in the fog and shadow that fill the path before you. You stand again, slowly, your knees protesting slightly from the crouch, then accepting, then relaxing. Your body is learning the alley's lessons too, learning to move slowly, to accept discomfort without fighting it, to let each sensation arise and pass without grasping or resistance. The rain continues falling through the narrow gap above, channeled by the close walls, becoming more concentrated here, heavier. It falls on your head, your shoulders, running down your back in rivulets that follow your spine, that spread and divide and reunite, mapping your body in water, making you aware of your physical form in a new way. You lift your face to the rain, eyes closed, mouth slightly open. The drops land on your lips, your cheeks, your closed eyelids. Each impact is distinct, a tiny pressure point that appears and vanishes. The sensation is exquisite, intimate, like the night itself is touching you, acknowledging you, marking you as one of its own. Standing in the narrow passage, face upturned to the rain, you feel more present than you have and longer than you can remember. Not thinking about past or future, not planning or remembering, just existing fully in this moment, this specific point in space and time, this intersection of self and world where boundaries dissolve and everything becomes one continuous experience of sensation and breath and being. Time softens further, becoming almost irrelevant. You might stand here for seconds or hours, there's no way to tell, no reason to measure. The alley has taken you outside of time's normal flow, placed you in a stream that moves differently, that eddies and pools and sometimes seems not to move at all, suspended in eternal present. Eventually, without deciding to, you lower your head and open your eyes. The narrow passage continues ahead, patient and waiting. You take a breath, deep and slow, filling your lungs with the cool, damp air, holding it for a moment, then releasing it in a long, steady exhale that fogs slightly in the cool air before being absorbed by the rain, by the mist, by the darkness that holds everything. Your next step forward is barely conscious, your body moving before your mind registers the decision. But that's how it should be here. No thinking, just moving, just being, just following the path that unfolds before you, step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment, deeper into the night and its gentle mysteries. The narrow passage opens gradually, the walls pulling back step by step, releasing you into a wider space. The change is subtle at first, barely noticeable, but after several meters you realize you can no longer touch both walls, then that the walls are at arm's length, then beyond. The alley expands around you like a slow exhale, like the city making room, creating space for whatever comes next. And what comes next is a pool. Not a puddle, but a true pool, stretching across the entire width of the alley, perhaps 5 meters from wall to wall. It blocks your path completely, dark water reflecting the faint ambient light that filters through the fog. You cannot see its far edge from where you stand, it disappears into shadow and mist, extending forward an unknown distance. You stop at its edge, where the shallow water you've been walking through deepens suddenly, dropping away into darkness. The boundary is clear, marked by a change in the pavement's height, a step down that your eyes can trace even in the dim light. The pool's surface is remarkably still despite the rain, each drop creating ripples that spread and die quickly, absorbed by the water's depth, its weight, its patient mass. Crouching down, you look into the water. Even this close, you cannot see the bottom. The darkness is complete below the surface, impenetrable. The pool might be knee-deep or bottomless, there's no way to tell from looking. The mystery doesn't disturb you. If anything, it deepens the alley's spell, adds another layer to its quiet magic. The rain falls on the pool's surface with a different sound than it makes on the shallow puddles. Deeper, more resonant, each drop creating a note that seems to echo from beneath, from within the water itself. The sound is musical, contemplative, like someone playing a slow melody on an instrument made of liquid and air. You sit down at the pool's edge, letting your legs dangle, your feet just touching the water's surface. The coolness envelopes your ankles, seeps through your shoes, already soaked but somehow becoming wetter, colder, more present. You make slow circles with your feet, creating your own ripples that spread outward, intersecting with those made by rain, forming complex patterns of interference and harmony. Across the pool, barely visible through the fog, a light glows. It's low to the water, perhaps at the same height you're sitting, and it pulses very slowly, fading nearly to darkness before brightening again. The color is difficult to determine, perhaps blue, perhaps violet, perhaps something between. The fog diffuses it, spreads it, turns it into an aura rather than a defined source. You watch the pulsing light, feeling your breathing naturally synchronize with its rhythm. When it brightens, you inhale. When it dims, you exhale. The pattern is slower than your normal breath, forcing you to extend each inhalation, each exhalation, deepening your respiration, filling your lungs more completely, emptying them more fully. The light becomes your guide, teaching your body a new, slower rhythm. To your right, along the wall, a pipe emerges from the brickwork at shoulder height. Water flows from it steadily, a stream as thick as your wrist, arcing out and down into the pool. The stream catches what little light exists, becoming a curved line of faint luminescence, a liquid arc suspended in air before merging with the pool below. Where it strikes the surface, the water churns slightly, creating a constant disturbance, a small chaos in the pool's otherwise calm expanse. You watch the stream for a long time, hypnotized by its constancy, its unchanging arc, its endless flow. Where does the water come from? Where does it go? The questions arise distantly, without urgency, then fade unanswered. The stream simply is, requiring no explanation, no understanding beyond the witnessing of its presence. Something moves in the water near the opposite wall. Not the figure you saw earlier, something smaller, something that might be debris, or might be alive. A dark shape breaks the surface briefly, creating rings of ripples, then disappears. You wait, watching, but it doesn't resurface. Perhaps it was never there, just a trick of shadow and light in your tired eyes. Or perhaps it was real, some small creature navigating the pool's depths, living its life in these dark waters, another inhabitant of the alley's ecosystem. The fog shifts, thickening momentarily, and the pulsing light across the pool vanishes completely, swallowed by the white. You sit in near total darkness, just the faint ambient glow from lights far behind you, too distant now to provide real illumination. The darkness doesn't frighten you. It feels appropriate, feels like another lesson the alley is teaching, that not everything needs to be seen, that some experiences are meant to be felt, sensed, intuited rather than witnessed. In the darkness, your other senses sharpen. You hear the rain more clearly now, each distinct impact on the water's surface, each note in the ongoing composition. You hear the stream from the pipe, its steady pour, its splash into the pool. You hear your own breath, surprisingly loud in your ears, and your heartbeat, steady and slow, keeping time with the pulsing light you can no longer see but still feel in your awareness. You hear something else too. Distant, barely audible beneath the rain, music. Real music, not the accidental melody of water and weather, but something created, intentional. It's too far away to identify the source, too muffled by fog and distance to make out a tune. Just the ghost of music, reaching you from somewhere deeper in the alley, or perhaps from an open window in one of the buildings above. The sound comes and goes, present for a moment, then fading, then returning, like a memory that surfaces and submerges in consciousness. The fog thins again, and the pulsing light returns, still keeping its slow rhythm across the pool. You feel a small relief at its reappearance, though you hadn't realized you were waiting for it. The light is company, a presence that shares this space with you, another point of awareness in the vast darkness. You pull your feet from the water, drawing your knees up to your chest, wrapping your arms around them. The position is protective, cocooning, but also comfortable, natural. You rest your chin on your knees and simply sit, simply watch, simply exist beside the pool as time continues its slow, dreamlike flow. A new detail reveals itself in the light's pulse. On the wall to your left, about halfway up, something reflects more brightly than the surrounding brick. You focus on it, waiting for the light to strengthen, and when it does you see a metal fixture, perhaps a handle or a ring, mounted in the wall, old and weathered but still intact. It serves no obvious purpose now, but once it must have meant something, held something, secured something. Now it's just there, a remnant of the alley's past, persistent and patient. The sight of it makes you aware of all the other details you haven't noticed, all the small fixtures and features and marks that cover these walls, invisible in the darkness but present nonetheless. Each one has its story, its reason for being, its moment of installation and its long slow fade into obsolescence. The alley is layered with history, with human intention and action, all of it softened now by time and weather and the gentle erosion of years. You think about the person who installed that ring, decades ago perhaps, longer. They stood where you sit now, or near enough, in an alley that was less worn, less weathered, but fundamentally the same. They breathed this same air, heard this same rain, saw light, different lights, but light nonetheless, reflecting in water that flowed where water flows now. The connection spans time, creates a thread between you and that unknown person, between this moment and that one, all occurring in this same narrow space that the city has carved out and preserved. The thought doesn't make you feel small or insignificant. Instead, it makes you feel connected, part of a continuum, a single point in a long line of moments and people and experiences that have occurred here and will continue to occur long after you're gone. The alley predates you and will outlast you, and there's comfort in that, in being part of something larger and more enduring than yourself. You lower your feet back into the water, feeling its coolness again, its weight, its patient presence. The pool accepts your legs without complaint, without change, simply continuing to be what it is, water in a low place, gathering and waiting, reflecting what light reaches it, absorbing the rain that falls endlessly from above. The pulsing light across the pool seems slightly closer now, or perhaps slightly brighter, or perhaps your eyes have adjusted further to the darkness and can perceive it more clearly. Whatever the reason, you can see more of its surrounding area, a section of wall, darker patches that might be doorways or alcoves, the vague suggestion of the alley continuing beyond the pool's far edge. You wonder if you should try to cross the pool, to wade through its unknown depth and continue your journey. The thought arises but doesn't insist. There's no urgency, no pressure. You can sit here as long as you like, can stay beside the pool for hours if you choose. Or you can move forward whenever you feel ready. The alley imposes no schedule, no requirements. It simply offers space and time and the freedom to move through both at your own pace. For now, sitting feels right. Sitting and watching and listening and breathing. Letting the rain fall on you, letting the pool lap gently at your legs, letting the pulsing light guide your breath in its slow, steady rhythm. Being present, being still, being exactly where you are without needing to be anywhere else. The music drifts by again, slightly clearer this time. You can almost recognize it as something with melody, with structure, though the details remain elusive. It sounds melancholy, or perhaps just contemplative, matching the alley's mood perfectly. You listen until it fades again, grateful for its brief presence, content to let it go without trying to hold onto it or identify it more precisely. Your shoulders drop further, releasing tension you didn't know they held. Your jaw softens. Your hands, resting on the wet pavement beside you, relax their grip. The alley is working its magic on your body, teaching it to release, to soften, to surrender the habitual tightness that you carry without knowing. Each breath takes you deeper into relaxation, deeper into the peaceful state the alley has been guiding you toward since you first entered its space. The pulsing light grows dimmer gradually, fading through several cycles until it's barely visible, a suggestion more than a source. The darkness returns, deeper than before, and you accept it, welcoming the absence of sight as an invitation to sink further into the experience of simply being here, beside the pool, in the rain, in the night, in this moment that stretches endlessly in all directions. Time dissolves completely beside the pool. You might have been sitting for minutes or hours, there's no way to know, no desire to measure. The rain continues its steady rhythm, the water laps softly at your submerged feet, and the darkness holds everything in its gentle embrace. You exist in a state beyond thought, beyond self-awareness, just a point of consciousness receiving sensation without interpretation. Eventually, slowly, the idea of movement returns. Not urgency, not decision, just the gentle recognition that you could move if you chose to, that the alley continues and you could continue with it. The thought sits in your mind for a long time, neither accepted nor rejected, simply present, waiting for you to notice it more fully. You withdraw your feet from the pool, the water releasing them reluctantly, creating small sounds of parting. Your legs feel heavy, languid, as if they've forgotten their purpose. You remain sitting for a while longer, letting them rest on the pavement, letting the air touch them, cool and damp against the water-soaked fabric of your clothes. Standing takes time. Your body rises in stages, first shifting your weight, then positioning your hands, then pushing up gradually, unfurling like something growing, like fog lifting. Once upright, you sway slightly, finding your balance, reacquainting yourself with verticality after the long stillness of sitting. The alley spins gently around you, then settles, then becomes stable again. You look at the pool stretching before you, dark and deep and mysterious. The pulsing light across its expanse has faded to almost nothing, just the faintest glow that you might be imagining. But you can sense the far edge somewhere ahead, can feel the alley continuing beyond, calling you forward with its silent invitation. Stepping down into the pool requires faith. Your foot finds the submerged step, descends beyond it, searching for the bottom. The water rises to your ankle, your calf, your knee, and still your foot continues down. Finally it touches solid pavement, and the water sits at mid-thigh, cold but not shocking, embracing your legs with liquid pressure. The second step brings you fully into the pool. The water resists your movement slightly, creating drag, making each step deliberate and slow. You move forward carefully, testing each placement of your feet, feeling for obstacles or changes in depth. The bottom seems level, consistent, paved like the rest of the alley, just deeper, submerged, hidden beneath the dark water. The sensation of wading is almost primordial, connecting you to something ancient and instinctive. This is how early humans must have crossed rivers, must have explored flooded spaces, moving through water with careful attention, respect for its power to conceal and reveal, to support and resist. You become part of that lineage, that history of bodies moving through water, of humans navigating the meeting place of land and liquid. The rain falls more heavily on your upper body now that you've descended into the pool. Or perhaps you're just more aware of it, more present to each drop's impact on your shoulders, your chest, your head. The sensation is cleansing, baptismal, as if the act of entering the pool has initiated some kind of transformation, marked a threshold crossed. Around you, the fog sits on the water's surface like a second layer, distinct from the pool but intimately connected to it. You wade through both water and fog simultaneously, your upper body in mist, your lower body in liquid, existing in two elements at once, neither fully in one nor the other. The boundary of the water's surface, somewhere near your waist, becomes a horizon, a division between worlds. The pulsing light ahead grows more distinct as you approach it, and now you can see its source, a small panel mounted low on the wall, just above the water's surface. The light emanates from behind frosted glass, and its pulse is definitely real, not imagined, a slow fade from barely visible to dimly bright and back again, the rhythm unchanged from what you observed from the pool's edge. As you draw closer, you can see that the water around the light source glows with each pulse, the illumination penetrating the darkness below the surface, revealing the submerged world for brief moments. You can see your own legs, pale columns descending into shadow. You can see the texture of the pavement below, the subtle variations in its surface. You can see small particles suspended in the water, tiny fragments of something unknown, drifting slowly in currents too gentle to feel. You stop beside the pulsing light, standing in the water, matching your breath to its rhythm once more. In. Out. Bright. Dim, the pattern is meditative, grounding, connecting you to this fixed point in the alley's flowing space. The light is an anchor, a marker, a small beacon in the vast darkness that surrounds you. Reaching out, you touch the panel with your fingertips. It's warm, surprisingly so, the warmth noticeable even through the coolness of the water and air. The glass is smooth, wet, covered in condensation that runs down its surface in slow rivulets. You can feel a very faint vibration, the hum of whatever mechanism creates the light, the electrical current flowing through circuits, creating illumination from energy, transforming one thing into another. Behind you, the edge of the pool where you sat is no longer visible. The fog has thickened, or the distance has grown too great, or the darkness has absorbed it. You can only see a few meters in any direction now, just a small sphere of space around the pulsing light, the rest of the alley faded into obscurity. It's like you're floating in a void, suspended in dark water, with only this one small light to confirm that anything exists beyond your immediate presence. The isolation isn't lonely, though. It's peaceful, concentrated, as if the world has contracted to just this essential moment, this specific location, this singular experience. Everything else, your life, your concerns, your past and future, exists somewhere beyond the fog, inaccessible and irrelevant. Here, now, there is only the water, the light, the rain, and your body moving through it all. You continue forward, leaving the pulsing light behind. It fades quickly in the fog, its rhythm continuing but its visibility diminishing with each step. Soon it's gone completely, and you're moving through darkness again, guided only by the feel of the pavement beneath your feet, the resistance of the water around your legs, some internal sense of direction that seems to know which way leads forward and which back. The water's depth changes slightly, rising and falling by small increments as the pavement beneath slopes subtly. Sometimes it reaches your waist, and you have to move even more slowly, pushing through the increased resistance. Sometimes it drops back to your thighs, and movement becomes easier, though never fast, never hurried. The alley dictates your pace, and you follow its guidance without question. Something brushes against your leg. Not hard, not aggressive, just a gentle touch, there and gone. You stop, standing very still, waiting to see if it happens again. The water moves around you, and you think you can sense movement in it, something creating currents, something alive perhaps, sharing this flooded space with you. The thought should be unsettling, but it isn't. If something lives in these waters, it's as peaceful as everything else in the alley, as calm and unhurried. The touch doesn't repeat, and after a while you continue forward. The rain has lightened slightly, becoming finer, more mist than drops, settling over everything like a veil. You can taste it when you breathe through your mouth, clean and mineral, carrying the flavor of stone and metal and the secret chemistry of the city. Ahead, gradually emerging from the fog, you see the far edge of the pool. The water grows shallower with each step, waist to thigh, thigh to knee, knee to calf, until finally you're climbing out, ascending the submerged step that marks the boundary, returning to the shallower water that covers the alley's normal surface. You pause at the edge, looking back at the pool you've crossed. It's already disappeared into fog and darkness, as if it never existed, as if you imagine the entire crossing. But your soaked clothes, the water still dripping from your body, the cold that goes bone deep now, these confirm the reality of what you've just experienced. The pool was real, is real, continues being real even though you can no longer see it. Turning forward again, you see the alley continues, narrower than before, the walls close on either side. The fog is thinner here, or the darkness less complete, and you can make out details, a door on the left, metal and featureless, a window on the right, dark and shuttered, the texture of the walls, smooth concrete marked with the pattern of the forms that shaped it. A new light appears ahead, different from any you've seen before. It's not neon, not electrical, but something softer, warmer. As you approach, you realize it's candlelight, or something made to look like candlelight, a small flame-shaped bulb behind amber glass, mounted in an old-style lantern attached to the wall. The light flickers gently, mimicking the movement of real flame, casting dancing shadows that make the walls seem to breathe. The amber light creates a warm oasis in the cool darkness, a pool of gold that seems to radiate not just illumination but heat, though you know that's impossible, that any warmth you feel is imagined, projected by your mind onto the sensory experience. Still, you move toward it like a moth, drawn by its warmth, its suggestion of comfort and shelter. Beneath the lantern, a small alcove offers a bench, an actual bench, metal and concrete, built into the wall, worn smooth by decades of use. You sit down gratefully, feeling the solidity beneath you after the uncertainty of the pool's crossing. The bench is wet, of course, everything is wet, but it's stable, unmoving, and that stability feels luxurious after the liquid passage. You lean back against the wall, tilting your head up to look at the lantern above. The flickering light plays across the underside of some architectural feature, a slight overhang, a decorative molding, something that creates shadow and depth. The interplay of light and dark mesmerizes you, the constant motion without progress, change without transformation, like watching waves or flames or falling rain. Your eyes grow heavy. The bench supports you, the wall cradles you, the amber light warms you in imagination if not in fact. The alley has brought you to this resting place, this small shelter, and your body recognizes the invitation, the permission to stop, to pause, to let go of even the minimal effort of walking and simply rest. The rain continues falling, but you're partially sheltered here by the overhang above the lantern. Most of the drops fall beyond you, though a few still find you, landing on your legs, your hands, gentle reminders that you're still outside, still part of the weather, even in this protected space. Sleep tugs at you, not insistently but persistently, offering itself without demand. You resist slightly, wanting to see more, to experience more of the alley, but your resistance is weak, half-hearted. Rest would be welcome. Sleep would be gift. And the alley seems to encourage it, to say that here, in this amber pool of light, beneath this flickering lantern, on this smooth bench, sleep is not just acceptable but appropriate. Your breathing deepens and slows. Your muscles release their last holdings of tension. The sounds of the alley, rain and distance and the faint hum of the lantern, become lullaby, become the audio landscape of dreams approaching. The boundary between waking and sleeping grows thin, permeable, and you drift toward it without resistance, letting the alley carry you into whatever comes next. You don't quite sleep, but you rest deeply, suspended in that place between waking and dreaming where time loses all meaning and consciousness becomes fluid, drifting. The amber light continues its gentle flicker above you, painting the inside of your eyelids with warm patterns when you close your eyes, patterns that shift and flow like water, like the fog, like everything in this place that refuses to be still and yet moves so slowly that stillness and motion become the same thing. Eventually, gently, you return to fuller awareness. The bench beneath you, the wall behind you, the cool air on your face, all of these sensations reassemble themselves into coherent experience. You open your eyes slowly, letting them adjust again to the dim light, to the shapes and shadows of the alley around you. Nothing has changed. The lantern still flickers. The rain still falls. The fog still drifts past, low and slow. But you feel different, refreshed in some deep way that has nothing to do with the brief rest and everything to do with the surrendering, the letting go, the permission you gave yourself to simply stop and be still. Rising from the bench takes effort, your body reluctant to leave this comfortable spot, but the alley calls you forward once more. There's more to see, more to experience, and you feel ready now, prepared for whatever comes next. You stand, stretch slightly, feeling your spine realign, your muscles remember their purpose. Before leaving, you place your hand on the wall beside the lantern, a gesture of thanks, of acknowledgement. The wall is cool and damp beneath your palm, solid and eternal. It has held this lantern for years, decades perhaps, offering its light to countless travelers through countless nights. You're just one more, a single moment in the wall's long memory, but the connection feels important nonetheless. You step away from the amber light, back into the deeper darkness of the alley. The transition is gentler now than it would have been before your rest. Your eyes adjust quickly, finding details in the dimness, shapes in the shadow. The path ahead is clearer, or perhaps you're simply more attuned to it, more able to perceive its subtle features. The alley slopes downward here, a gentle decline that you can feel in your legs, in the slight forward pull of gravity. Water flows more purposefully now, no longer just pooling but moving, trickling downhill in small streams that follow the lowest contours of the pavement. You follow these streams, trusting them to lead you forward, to show you the way deeper into the alley's heart. On either side, the buildings have changed character. They seem older here, more weathered, constructed from darker brick that absorbs what little light reaches it. The walls are marked with patches of moss or lichen, dark organic stains that spread in irregular patterns, nature reclaiming small territories in the midst of concrete and metal. The sight is oddly beautiful, the softness of living things growing on the hardness of human construction. A sound grows gradually louder as you descend, water falling, but more than rain. A stream, perhaps, or a small waterfall, somewhere ahead in the darkness. The sound draws you forward, providing a destination, a goal that gives purpose to your wandering without creating urgency or demand. The alley curves left, following the slope, and as you round the bend the source of the sound reveals itself. A waterfall, though small, no more than a meter wide, cascades from an opening in the wall on your right. The water falls perhaps 3 meters, splashing into a channel cut into the pavement, then flowing away downhill, joining the streams you've been following. The waterfall is illuminated by another light source, this one a pale green, mounted somewhere above the opening, shining down on the falling water. The green light transforms the waterfall into something otherworldly, a curtain of luminous liquid, glowing as it falls, each drop visible and distinct in the light's glow before merging with the churning pool below. You approach slowly, drawn by the beauty of it, by the sound, louder now but still not harsh, a constant rush that speaks of volume and force but remains somehow soothing, becoming white noise that settles over your thoughts like snow. The air near the waterfall is different, fresher, full of negative ions and tiny droplets that catch the green light and drift like luminous mist. Standing beside the falling water, you feel its power, the weight of liquid dropping through space, the energy of its impact. Spray touches your face, cool pinpricks of moisture that cling to your skin, to your eyelashes, making you blink. The green light reflects in these droplets, turning them into tiny emeralds scattered across your face, across your clothes, across everything within reach of the waterfall's mist. You reach out your hand, letting the water strike your palm. The force is substantial, pushing against your skin with consistent pressure, the accumulated weight of all those drops acting as one. The water is cold, colder than the rain, coming from somewhere deep in the building's infrastructure, some underground reservoir or pipe system that carries the city's hidden water through passages humans never see. Moving your hand through the falling water is like moving through something solid, a barrier made of liquid, yielding but resistant. You play with this sensation for a while, moving your hand in and out, feeling the sharp division between the waterfall and the air beside it, the edge where one element becomes another. The channel that carries the water away is cut deep into the pavement, smooth-sided and precisely shaped, clearly made for this purpose, engineered to handle the waterfall's constant flow. You crouch down, looking into the channel, watching the water rush past, fast and purposeful, knowing where it's going even if you don't. The green light penetrates the moving water, illuminating it from within, making it glow like liquid jade, like melted emerald, beautiful and hypnotic. You could follow the channel, trace its path downhill to wherever it leads. But something makes you pause, makes you look around more carefully. There, beside the waterfall, partially hidden in shadow, a passage. Narrow, barely wider than your shoulders, it leads into the wall, into the building itself, angling away from the alley at a steep diagonal. The passage is uninviting in its darkness, its narrowness, its unknown destination. But there's something compelling about it too, some suggestion that it offers a different experience, a departure from the alley's main path. You stand before it, considering, feeling no pressure to decide but aware that a choice exists. The green light from the waterfall extends a few feet into the passage, enough to show that it's clear, that the walls are smooth, that the floor is level. Beyond that point, darkness is complete. Not the soft darkness of the alley, enriched by fog and distant lights, but absolute darkness, the darkness of interior spaces where no light has ever reached. You make your decision without quite realizing you've decided. Your feet carry you forward, into the passage, into the narrow space between walls that press close on either sides. The sound of the waterfall fades quickly behind you, muffled by the walls, by the sharp turn the passage takes after just a few meters. The green light disappears, and you're left in total darkness. Your hands find the walls automatically, one on each side, using touch to guide yourself forward. The walls are smooth here, not brick or concrete but something else, tile perhaps, or smooth stone, cool and slightly slick with condensation. Your fingers slide along them as you walk, keeping contact, using them to maintain your orientation in the lightless space. The passage is straight after its initial turn, and you walk for what feels like a long time, though without light or reference points, it's impossible to judge distance accurately. Your feet find their way carefully, testing each step before committing weight, wary of obstacles or changes in level. But the floor remains smooth and consistent, slightly damp but not puddled, safe enough to trust. Gradually, very gradually, you become aware of light ahead. Not much, not yet, just the faintest suggestion of something other than absolute blackness. It grows as you walk, spreading from a point to a glow, from a glow to a visible source, an opening, rectangular and small, perhaps the size of a doorway, filled with soft blue light. The passage ends at this opening, and you step through into a new space. It's a small room, no more than 3 or 4 meters square, with walls of the same smooth material as the passage. The blue light comes from strips mounted along the base of the walls, all the way around, creating indirect illumination that rises and reflects, filling the space with even, gentle radiance. In the center of the room sits a single object, a chair. Simple, metal, with a slightly curved back and seat. It faces away from the entrance where you stand, pointing toward the far wall, which is blank and featureless, offering nothing to look at, no focal point, no decoration or detail. The room is perfectly quiet. The rain doesn't reach here. The waterfall is too far behind to be heard. There are no mechanical hums, no distant sounds, no noise of any kind. The silence is so complete that you can hear your own breathing, your heartbeat, the slight movement of your clothes as you shift your weight. You walk around the chair, examining it from all sides, but there's nothing special about it, nothing to distinguish it from any other chair. It's just a place to sit, offered without explanation or instruction. The room makes no demands, provides no context. It simply exists, a small pocket of blue-lit silence hidden away from the alley, from the world, from everything. Sitting in the chair feels inevitable, the obvious thing to do, perhaps the only thing to do in this space. The metal is cool against your back, your legs. The seat is slightly tilted back, encouraging recline, encouraging relaxation. You settle into it, finding a comfortable position, then simply sit, facing the blank wall, surrounded by blue light and perfect silence. The blankness of the wall before you becomes a screen for your mind. Thoughts arise and are projected onto its surface, visible in your mind's eye even though nothing actually appears. Memories, images, fragments of experience, they play across the wall like a private cinema, scenes from your life, your imagination, the deep structures of consciousness that usually remain hidden beneath the noise of daily existence. You watch these projections without judgment, without grasping or pushing away. They come and go like the fog in the alley, like the ripples on water, appearing and dissolving, real and yet insubstantial. The blue light supports this process, seems designed for it, creating an environment where inner vision can surface and be observed. Time passes. How much, you cannot say. Minutes or hours or some other measure that doesn't apply in this space outside of space, this moment outside of time. You sit, you watch, you breathe. The blue light glows. The silence holds. The blank wall receives whatever your consciousness chooses to project, accepting everything, reflecting nothing, simply being present as witness. Eventually, gently, you feel complete with this experience. Not finished exactly, but satisfied, ready to move on. You rise from the chair slowly, leaving it facing the blank wall, ready for the next person who might find this hidden room, who might need this space for their own interior viewing. The passage back to the alley feels shorter than the passage in, or perhaps you're simply more confident now, more willing to trust the darkness, to let your hands and feet guide you without fear. The walls slide beneath your fingers, cool and smooth, and your steps find their rhythm easily, carrying you forward with steady purpose. The green light of the waterfall appears ahead, a welcome beacon marking the return to the alley's familiar space. The sound of falling water grows louder, and then you're stepping out of the passage, back into the open air, back into the gentle rain that immediately begins to touch your face, your shoulders, reminding you of the world outside your own mind. The waterfall continues its endless cascade, unchanged by your absence, indifferent to your presence. The green light still transforms it into luminous beauty, still makes each drop visible in its descent. You stand beside it for a moment, reorienting yourself, feeling the transition from the blue room's silence to the alley's subtle symphony of water sounds. The channel still flows downhill, and you follow it now, walking alongside it, letting it guide your path. The slope continues, gentle but persistent, leading you deeper into the alley's lower regions. The buildings on either side seem to press closer here, their weight more palpable, as if you're descending into the very foundation of the city, into its roots, its hidden depths. More water joins the channel as you descend, small streams emerging from drains and pipes, adding their flow to the main current. The channel widens to accommodate the increased volume, becoming a small river, no more than a meter across but clearly defined, its edges sharp against the surrounding pavement. The lights change as you go lower. Less neon, more utility, bare bulbs and metal cages, mounted high on the walls, their light harsh and industrial but still somehow fitting the space. The bulbs are widely spaced, creating pools of illumination separated by stretches of shadow. You pass through these zones alternately, light, dark, your vision constantly adjusting, constantly adapting. In one of the lit sections, you notice something new, graffiti. Not chaotic or aggressive, but deliberate, artistic, covering a section of wall and flowing designs. The colors are muted by weather and time, blues and purples mostly, with hints of silver that catch the light. The shapes are abstract, organic, suggesting water, suggesting flow, suggesting the very essence of this place. Someone stood here, probably years ago, and left this mark, this beauty, this addition to the alley's ongoing story. You stop to look at it more closely. The technique is skilled, the lines confident, the composition balanced. Whoever created this understood the space, respected it, added to it rather than defacing it. The paint has weathered well, fading but not disappearing, becoming part of the wall rather than something on top of it. In another decade, it might fade completely, but for now it remains, a ghost of expression, a whisper of human creativity in the urban landscape. Past the graffiti, the alley levels out. The slope ends, and you find yourself in a wider space, almost a courtyard, though it's still roofed over by the buildings above. The channel spreads here, becoming a shallow pool that covers most of the floor, perhaps ankle deep, reflecting the few lights that illuminate this space from high above. The ceiling here is visible, metal grating, crisscrossing in geometric patterns, allowing rain to fall through but providing some structure, some sense of enclosure. Through the grating, you can see only darkness, the undersides of the buildings above, layers upon layers of the city stacked vertically, each level ignorant of the ones below. The pool is remarkably clear despite its depth. You can see the bottom, can see the pattern of tiles that line it, small squares in varying shades of blue and gray, creating a mosaic that might once have been a deliberate design but has become random through age and the replacement of broken pieces. Your feet disturb the water as you wade in, creating ripples that spread and intersect, that bounce off the walls and return, creating complex interference patterns. At the far end of the courtyard space, another passage opens. But this one is different, wider, taller, almost grand in its proportions. The entrance is framed by columns, or what remains of columns, their surfaces weathered and stained but their shapes still noble, still suggesting the architecture of a more elegant age. Above the entrance, barely visible in the dim light, a carved stone lintel bears marks that might have been words once, but are now too worn to read. You approach this passage slowly, feeling the significance of it, the weight of intention in its design. This isn't just a utilitarian corridor, this was meant to be an entrance, a threshold, a place where one space became another. The water flows toward it, drawn by some subtle slope, some engineering that guides it through the entrance and into whatever lies beyond. Standing at the threshold, you look back at the courtyard. It seems peaceful from here, the water still settling from your passage, the lights reflecting in its surface, the rain falling through the grating above in vertical lines of silver. It's a beautiful space, found beauty, accidental architecture created by abandonment and water and time. You turn forward again, facing the passage. The columns frame your view like a photograph, like a portal between worlds. Beyond the entrance, darkness waits, but it's not threatening. It's inviting, promising, full of potential and mystery. You can hear water echoing from within, suggesting space, suggesting depth, suggesting that this passage leads somewhere significant. Your first step across the threshold feels ceremonial, intentional, like crossing a border. The water is slightly deeper here, mid-calf, and cooler, as if this passage channels water from even deeper sources, from underground streams or aquifers far below the city's surface. The columns pass on either side, their substance solid and reassuring despite their age. The passage is wide enough for 3 people to walk abreast, though you move alone down its center, following the deepest water. The ceiling is high, perhaps 3 meters, creating a sense of space, of air, of room to breathe. The walls are lined with the same tile as the courtyard pool, blues and grays in patterns that catch what little light penetrates from behind. That light fades quickly, and you're in near darkness again, but not total darkness. Ahead, something glows, not bright but present, a soft purple luminescence that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere, suffusing the space with gentle radiance. As you walk toward it, the light grows stronger, and you begin to see its source. The passage opens into a chamber, larger than any space you've encountered so far in the alley. The ceiling rises into darkness beyond visibility. The walls curve away on either side, suggesting a circular or oval space, vast and echoing. And in the center, filling perhaps half the chamber's floor, a pool of water glows from within with that purple light, luminous and mysterious. You emerge from the passage onto a narrow walkway that circles the glowing pool. The walkway is perhaps a meter wide, tile-lined like everything else, dry except for the constant mist that rises from the pool's surface. The purple light reflects off this mist, creating a diffuse glow that fills the entire chamber, that makes everything visible without harsh illumination. The pool itself is still, its surface perfectly calm despite the rain falling through openings far above. The purple glow comes from beneath the surface, lights mounted on the pool's bottom, or perhaps the tiles themselves are phosphorescent, absorbing and re-emitting light in this particular frequency. The effect is otherworldly, transforming ordinary water into something magical, something that seems to exist halfway between liquid and light. You walk along the curved walkway, circling the pool slowly, taking in the chamber from different angles. The space feels ancient and modern simultaneously, its architecture clearly old but the purple lights suggesting recent addition or maintenance. Someone tends this place, someone keeps the lights working, someone ensures the water stays clean and clear. At the far side of the chamber, opposite where you entered, a structure rises from the walkway, a small shelter, perhaps, or a shrine, consisting of 4 posts supporting a flat roof. Beneath this roof sits a bench, similar to the one you rested on beside the amber lantern, but this one is stone rather than metal, carved from a single piece of material, smooth and curved to fit the human form. You approach the shelter, drawn by its obvious invitation to rest, to sit, to observe the pool from this designated vantage point. The stone bench is cool but not uncomfortable, its surface worn smooth by countless previous sitters. You settle onto it, facing the pool, and from this position you can see the entire glowing expanse, can appreciate its full beauty. The purple light creates a sense of depth that seems greater than the pool's actual dimensions. Looking into the illuminated water, you feel like you're looking into infinite space, into some portal that opens onto vast distances. The surface is so still that it's difficult to tell where the water ends and air begins, difficult to distinguish reflection from reality. Time slows again, perhaps stops entirely. You sit on the stone bench beneath the shelter's roof, protected from the rain that falls elsewhere in the chamber, and simply watch the purple pool. Nothing happens, nothing changes, yet every moment feels full, significant, weighted with meaning that doesn't need to be understood to be felt. Your breathing synchronizes with some rhythm in the chamber, perhaps the slow pulse of the purple lights, perhaps some acoustic resonance, perhaps just your own internal timing finding harmony with the space. In. Out. The breath moves through you like water through the alley, like light through darkness, essential and effortless. The pool teaches you about stillness, about surfaces, about the way light can transform substance into something transcendent. The water is just water, common and ordinary, yet the light within it creates beauty, creates mystery, creates an experience of wonder from simple elements combined with intention and care. You think about all the spaces you've moved through tonight, the narrow passages and wide pools, the amber warmth and blue silence, the green waterfall and now this purple chamber. Each one distinct, each one offering its own lesson, its own gift. The alley is teaching you through experience, through sensation, through the direct encounter with space and light and water and time. The chamber holds you gently in its purple glow, asking nothing, offering everything. You sit, you breathe, you watch the still pool and the light within it. The city exists somewhere above, with its noise and speed and endless demands. But here, in this hidden chamber deep in the alley's heart, none of that matters. Here, there is only this moment, this light, this perfect stillness that somehow contains all movement, all change, all transformation within its luminous depths. The stone bench holds you for a long time, though time itself has become meaningless, just another concept that dissolves in the purple light, in the stillness of the glowing pool. You sit without restlessness, without the need to move or change or do anything other than exist in this moment, breathing slowly, watching the light shimmer and hold steady simultaneously, a paradox that your mind accepts without question. Eventually, a subtle shift occurs within you. Not urgency, not impatience, but a gentle recognition that this part of the journey is complete, that the chamber has given you what it had to offer, and now the alley calls you onward once more. You rise from the bench slowly, your body stiff from sitting but not uncomfortable, just reminding you of its presence, its physicality, its need to move and flow like the water that surrounds you. You walk around the pool one more time, a final circumambulation, a gesture of gratitude or farewell. The purple light glows unchanged, eternal in its constancy, and you know it will continue glowing long after you've gone, waiting for the next traveler who finds their way to this hidden chamber, offering them the same gift of stillness and luminous beauty. At the far side of the chamber, opposite where you entered, another passage opens. You hadn't noticed it before, so focused were you on the pool, but now it's obvious, a dark rectangle in the curved wall, an exit, a continuation. You approach it without hesitation, trusting now in the alley's wisdom, in its ability to guide you exactly where you need to go. This passage slopes upward, a gradual incline that you feel in your calves, in your breathing. The water is shallower here, just a thin film over the tiles, enough to reflect the diminishing purple light from behind but not enough to impede your movement. You climb slowly, steadily, feeling yourself rising back toward the alley's main level, back toward the world you descended from. The passage curves gently as it rises, and new lights begin to appear, small fixtures mounted low on the walls, glowing a soft white, almost colorless, restful and neutral. They're spaced evenly, creating a rhythm of illumination that marks your progress, that shows you the way forward without overwhelming the essential darkness that still enfolds the space. The air changes as you climb. It becomes less damp, less heavy with moisture, though the rain still reaches here through unseen openings above. You can feel circulation now, a gentle breeze that moves through the passage, carrying away the stale air, bringing freshness, bringing the suggestion of open space ahead. The passage levels out and widens, the walls pulling back on either side, the ceiling rising higher. You emerge into another section of the alley, but it feels different from the areas you explored earlier. The buildings here are taller, or seem taller, their walls rising into darkness that suggests great height, great mass, great age. The pavement is different too, older stones rather than poured concrete, fitted together with such precision that the seams are barely visible even in the improved light. Here, the alley is lined with doorways, many of them, spaced regularly along both walls. Each door is different, some metal, some wood, some painted, some bare. Most are closed, locked perhaps, or simply shut against the night. But a few stand slightly ajar, revealing only darkness within, offering glimpses of spaces you cannot see, places you might explore but choose not to, content to simply note their existence and move on. Above the doorways, windows appear at regular intervals, climbing the walls in vertical rows that suggest multiple floors, many levels of habitation or storage or whatever purpose these buildings serve. Most windows are dark, but occasionally one glows with internal light, warm yellow, cool white, amber, blue, each one a small beacon suggesting life, suggesting people in rooms above, going about their evening routines, unaware of your passage through the alley far below. You walk down the center of this street-like section, equidistant from both walls, giving equal attention to each side. The stones beneath your feet are worn smooth by decades or centuries of foot traffic, rounded and polished, slick with rain but not treacherous. Your steps echo slightly here, sound reflecting off the stone and brick and metal surfaces, creating a soft percussion that accompanies your movement. A new sound joins the rain's constant whisper, music again, clearer now than the distant fragments you heard earlier. It comes from one of the lit windows above, drifting down through the damp air, a melody played on piano or synthesizer, slow and contemplative, minor key, matching the mood of the alley perfectly. You stop to listen, tilting your head back, trying to pinpoint the source, but the echoes and the rain confuse the location. It might come from that window, or that one, or somewhere else entirely. The music continues as you walk, sometimes louder, sometimes softer, as you pass beneath different buildings, as the wind shifts and carries the sound in different directions. The melody is simple, repetitive, hypnotic, just a few notes repeated in slightly different patterns, creating variations on a theme, exploring the spaces between sounds as much as the sounds themselves. You realize you're humming along without having decided to, your voice adding a soft harmony to the piano's melody, the two sounds weaving together, creating something richer than either alone. The act of making sound, of adding your voice to the alley's ambient music, feels natural, appropriate, another way of participating in this space rather than just passing through it. The alley narrows again gradually, the doorways becoming less frequent, the windows fewer and dimmer. The music fades behind you, absorbed by distance and weather, leaving just its memory, its echo in your mind. But you're still humming, still carrying the melody forward, keeping it alive through your voice, through your breath. Ahead, the alley splits. Two paths diverge, one continuing straight, one branching left, both disappearing into fog and shadow within a few meters. There's no sign to indicate which way to go, no obvious difference between them that might guide your choice. They simply are two options, two possibilities, two potential futures branching from this moment of decision. You stand at the junction for a long time, not struggling to choose but simply being present with the choice, acknowledging it, honoring it. Either path will lead somewhere. Either path will be right. The alley has taught you this, that there are no wrong turns, no mistakes, just different experiences, different routes through the same vast network of passages and spaces. Finally, without conscious decision, your feet carry you left. The choice is made not by thinking but by moving, by trusting your body's wisdom, by allowing intuition to guide you. The left path accepts you without ceremony, without confirmation that you've chosen correctly, simply opening before you as paths do, revealing itself step by step as you walk. This passage is very narrow, barely wide enough for your shoulders, the walls close enough to touch on both sides if you extend your arms. But you keep your arms at your sides, moving forward in a straight line, comfortable with the confined space, feeling held rather than trapped, embraced rather than restricted. The walls here are rough brick, old and crumbling in places, soft with moss that your shoulders brush as you pass, leaving dark smears on your wet clothes. The texture is pleasant against your hands when you reach out to touch it, rough but not abrasive, organic and alive despite being manufactured, colonized by living things that soften its edges. A light glows ahead, and as you approach you see it's another lantern, similar to the amber one you rested beside earlier, but this one glows blue-white, cold and clear like ice lit from within. It illuminates a small widening in the passage, not quite a room but more than just corridor, a pause in the narrowness, a place to catch your breath. You stop beneath this lantern, looking up at its cold light, feeling the contrast between its visual coolness and the actual temperature of the air, which hasn't changed. The light makes everything look frozen, crystalline, as if the rain falling through its glow has turned to tiny ice particles, though they're still liquid when they touch your face. On the wall opposite the lantern, someone has written something in chalk or paint, the letters large and clear despite being weathered by moisture. Night holds what day forgets. The words resonate in your chest, in your mind, in some deep place that recognizes truth without needing explanation. Yes, you think. Yes. The night holds what day forgets, the quiet, the stillness, the spaces between things, the time for reflection and rest and the slow unwinding of consciousness towards sleep and dreams. You stand before these words for a long time, letting them settle into you, letting them become part of your understanding of this journey, of what the alley has been showing you all along. Day forgets the value of darkness, of slowness, of wandering without destination. But night remembers. Night holds these things carefully, preserves them, offers them to anyone willing to walk its paths. The passage continues beyond the lantern, growing even narrower, and you follow it, carrying the words with you, carrying their wisdom forward into whatever comes next. The walls press closer still, and you turn sideways to continue, sliding between them, your chest against one wall and your back against the other, moving slowly, carefully, breath shallow to fit in the compressed space. This narrowness lasts for several meters, then suddenly releases, the walls pulling back all at once, opening into a space so wide and high that it feels infinite after the constriction. You stumble slightly, disoriented by the sudden vastness, by the absence of walls close enough to touch. You're at the edge of what might be the alley's end, or its beginning, or simply another transition point in its endless geography. Before you stretches an open area, not quite courtyard and not quite street, just space, wet pavement extending into fog, a few distant lights glowing like stars, structures visible as darker masses against the already dark sky. The rain falls more heavily here, or seems to, unobstructed by walls or overhangs or architectural features. It falls straight down, vertical and true, drumming on the pavement with a fuller sound than in the confined passages, creating a white noise that blankets everything, that fills your ears and mind with its steady rush. You walk out into this open space slowly, feeling exposed after so long in narrow passages, in contained spaces. The exposure is welcome, liberating, a chance to stretch and move freely, to turn in circles if you choose, to see in all directions without walls blocking your view. In the center of the open area, a single structure stands, small, simple, just 4 posts supporting a flat roof, like the shelter in the purple chamber but smaller, more intimate. Beneath this roof, protected from the rain, sits a bench. The last bench, you think, though you don't know why you think this, what makes it final. You approach the shelter and sit on the bench, grateful for the roof's protection, for the chance to rest one more time before whatever comes next. From here, you can see the space around you, can see the fog drifting past, the lights glowing in the distance, the rain falling everywhere except the small circle protected by the roof above. Your clothes are completely soaked, water heavy in every fiber, dripping steadily onto the dry pavement beneath the shelter. You're cold now, truly cold, the kind of cold that goes deep, that settles in bones and organs, that makes you shiver involuntarily. But it's not unpleasant. It's real, present, grounding. It reminds you that you're alive, that you're here, that this experience is happening in an actual body in actual space and time. You sit, you shiver, you watch the rain. The night wraps around you like a blanket despite the cold, the darkness held at bay by the distant lights, by the faint glow that seems to come from the fog itself, luminous with reflected radiance from unseen sources. Your breathing slows once more, deepens, the rhythm becoming meditation, becoming prayer, becoming simple acknowledgement of being alive, being present, being here at the end or beginning or middle of this long journey through rain and fog and light and shadow. The alley has brought you here, to this final shelter, this last resting place. And here you sit, as the rain continues falling, as the fog continues drifting, as the night holds you gently in its vast, forgiving darkness, asking nothing, offering everything, eternal and patient and endlessly, peacefully present. Your eyes grow heavy once more. Sleep tugs at you again, more insistently now, offering itself not as interruption but as culmination, as the natural end to this night's wandering. The bench supports you. The roof protects you. The rain sings its endless lullaby just beyond the shelter's edge. You let yourself lean back, let your body settle more deeply into the bench, let your muscles release their last holdings. The cold fades from awareness, or you fade from awareness of it, sinking into a deeper state where sensation becomes distant, unimportant, just information arriving from somewhere far away. The alley holds you as you slip toward sleep, toward dreams, toward the quiet darkness that waits at the end of all journeys, at the end of all stories. The rain falls. The fog drifts. The lights glow. And you rest, finally, completely, surrendering to the night and its gentle embrace, to sleep and the dreams that wait within it, to the perfect peace of this moment, this place, this ending that is also, always, a beginning. The alley stretches before you, long and narrow, disappearing into soft darkness ahead. The pavement beneath is wet, always wet, glistening with a thin layer of water that never quite dries. Rain falls here, gentle and constant, a vertical curtain of fine droplets that whisper as they meet the ground. The sound is quiet, rhythmic, like breathing. Like the city itself is breathing, slow and steady, in and out, in and out. Above, the buildings rise into shadow, their edges softened by distance and mist. You cannot see their tops. They fade into the dark sky, becoming part of the night itself. The walls are smooth, old concrete and metal, worn by time and weather. They hold the alley like cupped hands, creating a space that feels separate from the world beyond. Neon light glows softly along the walls. A blue sign hums on your left, its color deep and cool, like water in a quiet pool. The light spills down the brick, painting it in shades of azure and indigo. Across from it, a violet glow emanates from a small panel, steady and calm. The violet mixes with the blue in the air between, creating a twilight haze that drifts and settles. The rain continues. Each drop catches the neon as it falls, becoming a tiny point of colored light for just a moment before joining the puddles below. The puddles are everywhere, shallow and still, reflecting the lights above. Blue and violet dance on their surfaces, rippling gently when drops disturb them, then settling again into mirror-smooth peace. You stand at the entrance of the alley, watching. There is nowhere you need to be. Nothing calls you forward or pulls you back. This moment is enough. The rain touches your shoulders, light as silk, cool but not cold. It beads on your jacket and runs down in slow rivulets, following the seams, dripping quietly to join the water at your feet. The fog moves through the alley like something alive but gentle. It stays low, hugging the ground, drifting from left to right in thin horizontal layers. It makes the far end of the alley seem even farther away, softening the edges of everything, blurring the line between solid and air. When the fog passes through the neon light, it glows from within, becoming luminous, then fading back to gray as it moves on. You take a step forward. Your footfall is soft, muffled by the water. A small ripple spreads outward from your shoe, distorting the blue reflection for a moment before it calms. Another step. The sound is gentle, absorbed by the rain, by the wet ground, by the patient walls. The alley welcomes you without sound, without greeting, simply opening its space to your presence. To your left, a small alcove sits recessed into the wall. Water is pooled there, deeper than on the main path, creating a perfect mirror. The blue neon above reflects in it completely, an inverted sign hanging in water, as real as the one above. You pause beside it, watching both lights, the one in air and the one in water, existing together, neither more true than the other. The rain falls into the pool. Each impact creates tiny circular waves that spread and overlap, a constant pattern of gentle motion. The reflection breaks and reforms, a rhythm that matches the rain's quiet song. You watch for a long moment, breathing slowly, feeling your own rhythm align with the water's pulse. Above the alcove, a small ventilation grate releases a thread of warm air. It rises through the rain, invisible except for the slight distortion it creates in the falling drops. The warmth touches your face as you stand there, a contrast to the cool rain, neither unpleasant. Just sensation. Just the night offering two temperatures, two touches, both gentle. You continue walking, slowly, taking your time. The alley is perhaps 50 meters long, but distance doesn't matter here. Time moves differently in this space. Seconds stretch and soften like the fog, becoming unmeasured, becoming simply now, extended and peaceful. Ahead, another light glows. This one is violet, mounted low on the right wall. It illuminates a metal door, smooth and featureless, no handle visible, no sign to indicate what lies beyond. The door is simply there, part of the wall, another surface for the light to paint. The violet is deeper than the blue, richer, like twilight captured and held in glass. It makes the wet pavement before it look almost purple, a royal color, elegant and calm. You approach the door and stop. Stand still. Let the rain fall on you. Let the violet light wash over your hands, your arms, turning your skin shades of lavender and plum. There is no need to knock. No need to enter. The door is not an invitation or a barrier. It is simply present, like you, like the rain, like the light. Everything existing together in quiet harmony. The sound of the rain changes slightly here. It echoes off the door's metal surface with a higher, softer tone, like wind chimes made of water. You listen to this variation, this subtle shift in the alley's song. The rain on pavement, low and hushed. The rain on metal, lighter and clear. Together they weave a simple melody, two notes repeating, endless and soothing. Behind you, the blue light continues its steady glow. Before you, the violet does the same. You stand between them, held in their combined radiance, bathed in colors that speak of night and dreams and the quiet spaces between thoughts. The fog drifts past your ankles, cool and damp, barely felt but present, always present. Minutes pass. Many minutes. You're not counting. There's no reason to count. Each moment is complete in itself, requiring nothing from the ones before or after. You simply stand, breathing, watching the rain create and recreate its patterns in the puddles at your feet. Each reflection is perfect for an instant before it fragments and begins again. Beauty appearing and dissolving, teaching without words the nature of all things. Your shoulders relax. They've been holding tension you didn't notice until now, until it begins to release, flowing down your arms and away into the rain. Your jaw softens. Your hands uncurl. The alley is showing you how to be still, not through instruction but through example. Everything here is simply being what it is, no effort, no striving. The lights glow. The rain falls. The fog drifts. And you stand, becoming part of this effortless existing. Somewhere far above, beyond the buildings, beyond the mist, there might be sky, stars, moon. But here, in this moment, this alley is all the universe you need. It contains everything necessary, light and shadow, sound and silence, movement and stillness, all balanced, all in harmony. You feel held by this balance, supported by it, allowed to simply be, without question or expectation. The violet light pulses, almost imperceptibly, a rhythm like heartbeat, so slow and gentle you might imagine it. But no, it's real, a slight increase and decrease in intensity that takes many seconds to complete. You match your breathing to it without thinking. Inhale as the light strengthens. Exhale as it softens. In. Out. light, breath. Becoming synchronized, becoming one rhythm shared between you and the glowing panel. The rain continues its descent, never hurrying, never stopping, each drop taking its time to fall, to land, to become part of the water below. You wonder, in a distant, dreamy way, how long the rain has been falling here. Hours? Days? Years? Perhaps it has always been raining in this alley, will always be